Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Main here. It's late on a Friday night, but I wanted to get a video out to you anyways. So we are going to cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana in this video. If you watched my video on Wednesday, and really for the last few months, like we've been pretty dialed catching most of these moves. We got one wrong here. I honestly thought after we had this little sweep right here, we had our touch into the fair value gap, and then we had this sweep, and then I said, okay, right? I'd laid out a bit, essentially two options. I was like, we either go up from here, right? Or we come and we run this low. That's kind of what I've been talking about for most of the month. Like we're either going to go up and this is the low, or we come deeper into this, fill the CME gap. On Wednesday, we had swept out this low, and I said, okay, you know what? We have this. This is a higher low. We had the H12, H1 setup here. So if you go down to the hourly, you know, we had the market structure breaker setup on Bitcoin, on ETH, and Sol. And I'm like, all right, I think we're ready. I think it's finally time for us to take out some of this trendline liquidity, right? I wasn't necessarily saying we had to go to $200,000, but I definitely thought that this was going to be enough. We'd run these lows, run this low. Next liquidity, the draw on liquidity, if you will, was going to be above us. And we didn't. So what's that mean? It means I got something wrong, and that's going to happen, right? You have to have the ability to just be okay with being wrong. You guys know I'm not one of those people on social media who tries to purport that I get everything correct. I get stuff wrong all the time, right? So it is what it is. We had a great run. We got something wrong. Now we recalibrate because it's not the end of the world. Some people feel like they're allergic to admitting that they're wrong. So many charts today from people being like, well, actually, you know, this is what I was saying. It's like, dude, just sometimes you're wrong. I thought we were going to go up here and we didn't. And I got it wrong. It is what it is. On to the next trade, right? On to the next opportunity. So what is potentially going to happen now? I think there's a few things that we need to consider. One thing that I thought of when I was on my walk that I wanted to touch on, and I posted about this in Telegram as well, is I didn't love, right? I didn't love how we had a lot of bullish news. Saylor bought $2.5 billion. We had all this bullish news about, you know, stable coins. This person loves crypto. Oh, we're bringing all the stocks on chain. All this good news, and the market went down. And you're kind of like, well, what the hell? A common thing in markets, not every time, all the time, is that the markets will actually bottom on bad news and they will top on good news. And I don't mean they're topping forever or anything like that. But if you remember back here, right, what was the bottom here? It was Trump literally coming out with the card saying, I'm motherfucking putting a tariff on everybody. That was the bottom. And now we've got Saylor buying, stablecoin bills passing, bringing all the stocks on chain, every piece of good news you can imagine, and the market's pulling back. It's not that surprising, right? When you kind of think about it that way. The market bottomed back here on FTX imploding and people saying crypto's dead forever. That was the bottom, right? When Sam took all of my money at the bottom, right at the bottom, that piece of shit. Maybe if he didn't do that and I had all that money at the bottom, I wouldn't still be here. Just kidding. I would never leave you guys until I do, and then I'll be gone forever, and you'll miss me then, you fucking bastards. Anyways, so what can happen now, right? I thought we were going to go up from here. There's a good chance that August, you know, is gay, right? Like we just get some sort of choppy PA. I talked about the potential of this just being a range, and, you know, maybe we're ready for the range high, back to the range low. Looking at how this looks, based on where we are right now, I think the next likely direction is up. But the question is it up into a lower high? Or is it just going to continue to, you know, chop sideways, right? We go up again, and then maybe we take out this low, and we just continue to chop, and then we all come back in September, and then maybe, you know, in September, we actually are finally ready to break out. Like maybe we're in for a month of just choppy gayness, and it is what it is. So I thought we were going to take out some of these highs. There's still possibility that we can go take out some of these highs, but for now, that's kind of a meh looking weekly candle. Looks kind of toppy, at least for temporarily. We still have this key level here that we want to watch, right? If we get back below this old high, remember, back below the old high, it's bad, right? Back above an old low, it's good. Back above an old low, it's good. So if we deviate back below this high, that's worrisome. But until then, any sort of pullback here, I think could still end up leading to a higher high. I'm not like, saying it's a bear market in the tops. And I know CL is saying like Bitcoin looks like it's topped. Maybe it is, but I don't have enough information to make that determination yet. I think that it's more likely that we're just going to be in for kind of a choppy month of August. Maybe it ends up being bullish. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if, July was a little bit abnormal, I would say, for summer trading. Stocks also look like they're kind of like, we're back below that old all-time high here. This is the most bearish, I think, equities have looked in some time, right? Like this is a big down candle. This is the biggest down candle we've had basically in this entire rally. If you look at like the QQQ, right? There's a lot of stuff here that's starting to look, like it's potentially time for a bit of a pullback. That's not what I wanted. Did the Dow not even make a new high? Wow. I know the job numbers came back kind of meh. I mean, I think I wouldn't freak out yet. Again, I think that this is an area where price can bounce from. The question is what is going to come from that bounce? Is this a structure break here, right, below these lows, and this is going to be a downtrend now for a bit? Or is this simply just running the range lows and we're going to continue this sideways PA? So I'm not going to add to any new positions yet. I'm still holding my long where my entry was here and my stop is down here. I'm still in that trade. What I'd be looking for to compound, or at the very least to de-risk a little by bringing my stop loss up, is just for us to get back above that old low. So if we're able to get back above that old low, then all of a sudden this starts to look like a breaker. And then maybe that's your trade setup on the long side, back up into some of this stuff here. And I could take my stop from here up to here. A little bit of risk off the table, something like that. But overall, I don't have like the best read right now, other than the fact that this is an area that I thought we could come to like a week ago. I think I did in last week's video or the week before, where I said, hey, we can still come and take out this low, fill out the CME gap, right? So we've now filled that CME gap fully, right? Whereas here we just touched it. We've now filled the CME gap fully. ETH has also now come down into that weekly breaker. So I've mentioned this in prior videos, right? We're trading above the quarterly high. I'm like, we're either going to consolidate here and rip, or I think we can come back and tag 32 to 3,400. So I still think that that's the case. Even if Bitcoin has topped, right? If Bitcoin just goes sideways here for like August, I could totally see ETH put in a higher low here and trade to here. So if anything, I'm probably more interested in looking at ETH. If Bitcoin's going to show weakness, that's a sign to me that potentially alts are going to have another leg still. And I like ETH from, this area to here and then ultimately to here. Excuse me. So I'm going to be looking at ETH. If we get one more push down here, one more push down on ETH, right? Again, that might be it. It just touched this zone. But if we get one more push down, like into here, 3,300 area, I think I would take a long on ETH and I'd target 4,000 and then new all-time highs. Solana, similarly, doesn't look as good as ETH. I think ETH looks better, to be honest with you. But this is coming back into weekly demand here, just like ETH did. So if Sol gets another little bit of a push down, maybe we take out this low here, down towards 150. So take this out. I think longing Sol back up towards 200 would be a pretty good trade. And that entire time that happens, Bitcoin could drift lower, or it could quite literally just go sideways. and it could open the door for some serious alt rallies. You got to remember when Bitcoin topped here, right? ETH doubled. So I'm not saying Bitcoin's topping. I'm just saying Bitcoin going sideways can still allow altcoins to be bullish, right? Looking at ETH BTC, it's got a little bit more room that it can go, right? A little bit more room that it can go. But ultimately, there's no guarantee that this can't rip with Bitcoin going sideways, right? Like if Bitcoin goes sideways and ETH gets back up towards, 37, 3,800, this thing's going to have another leg higher. And if you look at this on the highest time frames here, right? Like that's only the second green monthly candle of the last 3, right? So we had red April, green June, green May, red June, green July. So like this could still very well just be getting going here. And that bodes well for ETH. I still am pretty confident that we take this out. Now, could we pull back, deeper on ETH and then go up, or just go up from here? Like, yes, 100%, anything is possible. It's going to really depend on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes sideways, I think ETH can rally kind of from 32 to 3,400 and go up. If Bitcoin wants to pull back more, it wants to go sub 110K, something like that, we could see ETH back below 3,000. But I don't think this trade is done yet. I still think we have moves to the upside on ETH. But stocks looking the shakiest they've looked since April, by far. Bitcoin looking kind of sketchy after that structure break. Still, it's okay. It's on support, but we want to see a reaction here. I do still think that ETH isn't done yet, but we got to be aware we're in the middle of summer. Stocks are looking a little bit meh. Maybe it's time to just touch grass. Everyone says, hey, take summer off, come back around Labor Day. Maybe that's what we should do. I'm not going to. I'm going to be here posting 3 times a week anyways because I can't leave this place. But I'm just saying. So I know this isn't maybe the best update. I'm kind of just still recalibrating, figuring out exactly what I want to do and how I want to approach the market. Sometimes you get something wrong. You need to give it a couple days, let a little bit more price action form, and then get back in, right? Get back active. So for now, Bitcoin on support, ETH on support, Solana is all on support. At the very least, some mean reversion. And I think after the weekend, we should have some more information about the markets. A couple more days will have passed, and then we'll go from there. So that's all I got. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I love you all. As always, if you want to support your boy, all my bullshit is in the description of these videos. Ref links, the Haven, indicator, all the bullshit, or just watch. It's always free. Leave likes, leave comments, engage with my tweets. Take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.